They told me, son, you're special. You were born to do great things. You know what? They were right.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to
salvation?
No, says the man in Washington. You belong to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican. You belong to God. No, says the man in
hell.
You belong to everyone.
Charlotte Morningstar
rejected those answers. Instead, she chose something different. She chose the impossible. She chose
Hazbin Hotel.
A city where the artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality.
Where'd you move here from, dumb?
Hey everyone, it's shilling time again. So first of all, I got my old Twitter back, so that's gonna be my main from now on.
Do you remember me now?
Can't be. You were killed in Zanzibar.
My main Twitter account is Top Brick Boss, and my alt account is Lone Grips. Follow whichever one you want, I guess. I also have Instagram, that one too. And I have El Patreon, you can give me money. If I get $1,000, I'll post feed pics or something. Oh, by the way, before I forget, I have a new podcast now. The podcast is called A Film Sheet, and you can subscribe and watch our new episodes right now. If you want to see me talk movies with Ellis Mark and Jaden from The Sonic Show, hit the link down below and subscribe. Not convinced yet? Here's one of our funniest moments. Wow, wasn't that moment hilarious? These moments and more on our podcast Film Sheet. Anyways, that's all. Here's the actual YouTube video. God, okay, fine, I'll talk about it. But don't get mad if you don't like it, okay? Yeah, after all the jokes, I'm finally talking about it. Feel free to point and laugh. Hilarious. Hazbin Hotel is a 2024 television show created by a woman named VivziePop, someone who used to be an online furry animator. Personally, I remember this one animation on Kesha's We Are Who We Are. I don't remember how I found it, but that's where I first discovered her, so. And then years later, she dropped this free online pilot for a show called Hazbin Hotel. A pilot that blew up so much that A24 of all people picked it up. This means that VivziePop now officially has Hideo Kojima ties. My name is Charlie, Hazbin Hotel. Do you know what my name means? My name is Vagada. Do you know what it means? Vagada is Greek for very late. When I was alive on the earth, I gave birth to my child. Hi, I'm Timothy Chalamet. Also, my name isn't Angeldust. It's Showgirls, man. Also, I was an angel the whole time. But they all left me to the dust, and that's all I know. I keep going back to the dust. That's where I belong. It's where they told me I belong. I'm no angel. Never was an angel. I'm always just left in the dust. Hey, let's go with it. I'm Jeff Keighley, and the game of the year goes to Hazbin Hotel by Hideo Kojima. And at long last, Hazbin Hotel, the entire thing dropped this year. In the meantime, Vivzie also made this show called A Hell of a Boss. I guess it's free on YouTube or something. A show that's also blown up in popularity as well. But by all means, Hazbin Hotel is VivziePop's big break and biggest show. And it's a show that I've been very vocally not a big fan of. Although, to to be fair, I'm gonna be honest, most of it was to piss people off. Truth be told, I haven't seen the full Hazbin Hotel pilot, but I've seen enough of it to go, yeah, this isn't really for me.
There'll be no more fire and no more screams, just puppy dog kisses and cotton candy dreams.
Okay, this shit is ass. So just stop rapping. Quit. You're not making it out the hood.
And the big thing was the comedy. The comedy was just really, really unfunny.
Oh, harder, Daddy.
No. No. No.
However, in spite of all the jokes that I make online, I still had a level of respect for Hazbin Hotel, even if it really, really didn't look like it. Because the truth is, Hazbin Hotel is a fully independent thing that made it somewhere. It's on Amazon Prime now.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
And that's why for so long, outside of jokes that are meant to just be trolling, I'm gonna be honest with you, I've actively refused to make videos on Hazbin Hotel and Hell of a Boss. Because truth be told, it feels kinda like bullying, you know? And that's on top of the fact that Vivzi's actual fan base deeply terrifies me.
Rar, X3 nozzles pounces on you. Ooh, you so warm.
Welcome to San Angeldust.
Now, yes, I know what you're thinking. I can't believe Dumbzil didn't finish watching something that he didn't like, that he didn't intend on reviewing. Yeah, sorry I destroyed your entire worldview. Here's hoping you believe in God again.
I bet you weren't expecting that one, God.
The big thing I'm getting at is, even when I was making jokes, I was still aware that Vivzi wasn't in the same playing field as the actual industry. The problem, however, is now she is in that playing field, and she is now subject to the exact same criticism that every other creator in the industry gets. It's such a shame, Vivzi, suffering from success. DJ Khaled. Funny enough, Vivzi herself doesn't seem to understand this, judging that she's, very chronically online, often subtweeting about memes against her and blocking people en masse. She's even blocked me, and I have quite literally no idea why. I've been very vocal that I'm not a fan of her show, but like I've never interacted with her ever. So Vivzi, if you're watching this, free all my guys, free Problem Child, riding in my tank on 285. See, Vivzi and I, we have a very Playboy Cardi, Benji Blue Bills relationship. The joke is gang violence.
Whipping a hoe with the Fendi. Yeah, I was looking for Vivzi.
The point is, whether Vivzi likes it or not, this is her first big work. And as such, I'm gonna review it like everything else on this channel. The point is, because of all this, the discussion around Hazbin gets weirdly parasocial on all ends.
Now, this might strike some viewers as harsh, but I believe everyone involved in this story should die.
My point is, you're going to die one day, so get bigger problems, I guess.
Nobody wants a
Twitter user
who acts like they're immortal. And if you're not scared of death, how can you value life? And life is pretty fucking fragile right now.
Basically, I'm here to get mad and make you laugh, okay, man? I may be a critic, but I sure as a hell ain't professional. Part 1, what did I think of Hazbin Hotel? And now it's time for the grand reveal. No shit posting, honest thoughts only. What are my thoughts on a Hazbin Hotel? It's boring. It's really boring. I gave the show the proper chance, the proper college try, and I didn't get anything. Except for maybe like a disease or something. Maybe a few mental issues if we're being really generous. You know, out of all the things I thought this show would make me, utterly disengaged wasn't really one of them that I expected. Here's the good news with Hazbin Hotel. I didn't entirely want to kill myself. Here's the bad news. I would rather be doing something else that's actually entertaining. Putting the character I have to play aside, it's like a 5 out of 10. But like a really, really frustrating 5 out of 10. So what is this show about, you may be asking? Wilp, it's a brand new concept about cartoon characters being in hell. This is of course not to be confused with similar occult-related cartoons like Lucy the Daughter of the Devil, or Mr. Pickles, or Your Pretty Face is Going to Hell the cartoon, or Little Demon, Aubrey Plaza's, why is Aubrey Plaza? Or Devil May Care, not to be confused with Devil May Cry. Oh, and don't forget about the incredible Spain cartoon of Poor Devil, exclusively on Max.com for about 15 more seconds. This is of course not to be confused with Neighbors from Hell, which is furthermore not to be confused with God, the Devil, and Bob, or the many jokes involving Satan in South Park. Don't ignore that. You see, unlike those other shows, Hazbin Hotel does is something very interesting, where it begins with a My Little Pony Friendship is Magic styled lore dump about the Garden of Eden. But this one modifies the Bible story to be different, and it's told in these very stylized silhouettes, and it's so extremely unique and interesting and new, except it isn't because Darksiders did it 14 years ago. Okay, enough fucking around. The show's about some girl named Charlie who's the daughter of Satan and his wife Lilith, and she wants to run a rehab hotel called Hazbin Hotel, so that way sinners can go to heaven instead of being murdered by angels, I guess, in the lore. Or at least I thought that's what the show would be about, until it just stops being about that for long stretches of time. The show has the weirdest goddamn pacing. The characters and massive plot things go by way too fast. It's way too breakneck. That's where Hazbin Hotel gets really weird. It's a very ambitious show, but directly because of that, it's very unfocused. And a lot of the bigger ideas in the show, I feel like don't really say anything at all.
I don't care about you or anything you have, including your car, apartments, fights, yachts, or anything else.
Partially because the pacing won't let the show develop them properly because it's way too goddamn fast, where meanwhile, actually interesting parts of the show get either tossed off to the wayside or get improperly mishandled. It leads to a very rushed feeling show that really has no idea what it actually is. It's a real damn shame too, because artistically and at least ambitiously, it really does feel like a Hazbin Hotel has some level of passion put into it. There is a very large bevy of colorful characters, each one with a unique personality. I think the art direction is also really good, even if the animation is the kind of hit or miss. The issue, however, is that Hazbin Hotel has a million unique ideas, and it really wants to use all of them. However, the show is only 8 episodes, so you can probably only imagine how much of an unmitigated disaster it all is. There were points in the show where I just lost track and didn't know what the fuck was going on, which makes it even harder for me personally to watch the show because I'm really fucking stupid. 'Cause the rules are black and white. So much happens in Hazbin Hotel, too much in fact, but barely any of it is actually digestible, and it starts harming things like developing the main cast. So trying to comprehend this god-awful pacing is like a Dark Souls game, dude.
The porn star chose a night of debauchery. That's not a soul worthy of being in heaven.
Grandma.
There's no question to be posed, he's unholy.
No, really, is ecstasy legal out here, bro? Because somebody gave me some ecstasy from the crowd, and they said it's legal. And if they're saying it's legal and you're not sure, and
you ever heard the phrase too many cooks? Well, Hazbin Hotel is the phrase too many ingredients. It's like the narrative version of like a tipsy bartender Jungle Juice video.
And there you have it, homeboy, okay? The trash man!
It focuses on all these big things that make the show big. Like the universe is big, we're going grand, we're having big wars, big twists. But it never shrinks itself to make itself actually good. Which is weird because when it actually dives into the characters, it actually gets kind of interesting. This really should have been a smaller character-driven show, I feel. But the bigger shit is so bloated and yet so nothing. It's the kind of thing that could be saved for a season 2 to flesh that part out, you know? But Vivzy wants to go really big and really epic, to the point where she doesn't want to sacrifice her material for an actually watchable good thing. And you get a show called Hazbin Hotel spending very little time on the Hazbin Hotel. Now, yes, I do know studios are shutting down animation projects way too early. I get it. There's a story you want to tell, but higher-ups be higher-upping. But while that is a legitimate fear, I'll think back to things like Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, which was ironically only 6 episodes long, but dedicated entire episodes to singular characters. And just in general, had a way better idea of pacing, you know? Narratively speaking, the show is an overambitious mess. It's like watching someone describe their rough draft of their dream show to you. Ambitious, but not all that good. Part 2, I did not find it edgy or funny. Now listen here, I'm a bit of an edgelord myself, okay? And one thing I learned is that there's a right way to be edgy and many wrong ways to be edgy. Now listen, I myself have no problem with an edgy piece of work. Sadly though, Hazbin Hotel isn't one of them. One of the most detrimental parts of the show is how it's written, especially the comedy, because the show really is not funny whatsoever. It really is just a case of I just didn't find the show funny. It's not the excessive swearing, but the fact that excessive swearing is like the punchline. Or like the punchline is it revolves around sex or someone saying a sexual thing.
See, you messed with my daughter, and now I am going to fuck.
And every time it does it, it's in a way where the show clearly thinks it's being, like, offensive. Like, for a show that literally takes place in hell, it sure is sanitized about it. Like, what, you go to hell and you go to the Steven Universe version of Las Vegas? Meanwhile, very few actually kind of funny, chuckle-worthy jokes will be instantly ruined because a character just has to spread out the word vagina.
You're doing great, vagina.
Now, Vivzy Pop has deflected this by just mentioning Seth Rogen in South Park, which is funny because, first of all, I don't find Seth Rogen that funny either. But ironically, I do find Superbad to be funny, because that movie is comedically much more creative, and it has actually good comedic timing and irony and whatnot. If Vivzy Pop thinks a movie like a Superbad is just swearing and sex jokes, I think she might be media illiterate, especially when the most famous joke in the movie has nothing to do with sex whatsoever.
I am loving.
Honestly, the sex jokes are my least favorite jokes in Superbad. My favorite jokes are the ones where the police officers walk in and go, McLovin! It's also more than that too, like the humor is also very in your face. I don't know, it's just hard to describe. Maybe I am just fucking stupid. It's like trying to watch a Tumblr user write a Grand Theft Auto game. The humor kind of reminds me of Borderlands in a weird way, which I also find really unfunny. Now some of you may be thinking, but Dumsy, the show's just not your cup of tea. And to that I respond, wow, it took you that long to figure it out. But even so, there are points where the humor starts affecting the plot, on top of the awful pacing and the lack of focus from the entire show, which becomes a really big problem when the show actually wants to tackle more serious subjects. I wish I had a better way of transitioning, but overall, long story short, there is one specific area of Hazbin Hotel that is sort of emblematic of everything right and wrong with it, but it also caused some pretty serious controversies, and there really is no easy way to talk about it at all, so sorry this is sudden, but I'm just going to kind of jump into it. Okay, so this next segment is on episode 4 of Hazbin Hotel. This is an episode that I feel like I kind of need to talk about, but at the same time, it's one that's extremely divisive. And the reason is because the episode deals with SA, which obviously means, you know, assault. I'm gonna abbreviate a lot of things because, you know, YouTube censors and all that. And furthermore, I will also give a warning. If this stuff actively upsets you, please skip to this timestamp. I did end up reaching out to multiple SA victims, some of them my friends, some of them just random people, to help me proofread this section to make sure it wasn't disrespectful. 17 people volunteered and I can't thank them enough. Obviously, they'll remain anonymous for personal reasons, but the content in episode 4 is very upsetting for a lot of people, and I understand that. And it's very weird because episode 4 includes some of the best and worst of Vivzy's writing, but the subject matter in episode 4 is extremely serious, so there is absolutely no shame in leaving this video or skipping this part whatsoever. I know I'm not the easiest YouTuber to take seriously, but SA is a very real, traumatizing, damaging crime, and yet in the case of a Hazbin Hotel, Vivzy has made it utterly unavoidable. So again, this is going to be your final warning. Also, obviously, I am not a survivor myself, and furthermore, this issue is absolutely complicated. Survivors themselves are regular, independent human beings, and furthermore, SA and art is still a pretty recent thing that's being discussed, because a public conversation around SA is also still a pretty recent thing. Long story short, while I can have my own very educated opinions on the bad creative choices Hazbin Hotel has, what I don't mean to do is make some definitive statement on it, nor speak on behalf of every single individual survivor, which I think is just morally abhorrent to do anyways. I just wanted to make this all clear before we get into it. Anyways, Hazbin Hotel episode 4 dives into the character of Angeldust. Of course, Angeldust in the show is an adult video actor, but also as a result, Angeldust is under the manipulation of Valentino, someone who, by both contract and by force, keeps Angeldust in the industry. And obviously, by force, that means what we're talking about now. This is implied in a scene where Valentino is beating down on Angeldust, and is confirmed during the song number Poison, where, among other things, Angeldust is shown being beaten down and eventually, from the waist up, thrusted into by force. Now, I do want to make it clear, I do think that SA can absolutely be explored in art. But with that being said, you need to be very, very, very careful when doing so, and whether the work you make is actually going to be able to handle what you want it to handle properly, as well as what kind of audience is actually going to be able to see it. SA is a very real and traumatizing, yet way too common crime, and it's important important to treat that and general victims with respect, as well as informing audiences about the dangers of it. But it's also important to not just make it a cheap backstory, or furthermore, cheap shock value, as that cheapens the effects of SA. And the weird part is, the Valentino beating down on Angeldust part, the contrast between how the crew treats Angeldust and how Valentino treats Angeldust, Angel himself not being a perfect person and being prone to outbursts because of his abuse, which that, along with his self-imposed guilt, make him a complicated character, while also not invalidating what's happening to him. Even the song number where Husk and Angel bond over being outliers in society. All of this is honestly, I feel, really good, but it's entirely ruined by things that seem so small, and yet are also things that make or break your depiction of SA in your work. For one thing, for the first 3 episodes, Angeldust comes off as just a walking sex joke. Now, there is some build-up towards episode 4 and the events that happen in it, but the show's rushed pacing I mentioned earlier makes these scenes flash by way too fast in my opinion. And quite a few people that I talked to ended up even just straight up not remembering these scenes, so Angeldust is way more of a comedic relief than he really should be. Now, of course, I do know SA victims who are very hypersexual. Yes, of course, every victim is absolutely different. But my point is, Angeldust is far from unrealistic, and that's a good thing. The issue, however, is that Angeldust does not give this impression for the first 3 episodes. Again, he comes off to a lot of people as pretty much just comedic relief. This is something that you absolutely do not want as your first impression. And while the episode did overall, I feel, give depth to Angeldust, and I do believe there was no actual intent to romanticize it whatsoever, the sloppy writing and Angeldust's one-note character in the first 3 episodes add up to this revelation feeling much more cheap and last minute than it was intended to. Furthermore, this part of Angeldust is rarely explored anywhere else in the show. This is again just a problem with the show having too many things going on in it, which gives off a really bad impression that the show is rushing this super serious stuff. So in episode 4, a lot of this stuff is really well written in isolation, but really last minute in context. But I think the real biggest problem is actually showing the SA happening. Now, again, I've talked to a lot of survivors about this, and whether or not you can or can't show it in any graphic way is very, very touchy, and obviously is dependent on a case-by-case scenario. Now, personally, I think that in the case of Hazbin Hotel, a often quirky musical, a work that has a very large focus on marketability and borders on the mainstream, they should not, in their first season, have shown this being played over a quirky musical number, all while forgetting to release with a content warning. Yes, you heard me right. They forgot to do the bare minimum of putting a text over a black screen, which, while it did eventually get fixed, it makes you wonder, why the fuck wasn't that a priority? It's overall just a really bad look. Furthermore, I think the Poison song number itself is just pretty distasteful. Not only is the song itself way too on the nose, but I really just don't think showing SA during a pop song is the right move at all. And while I get that it's meant to be uncomfortable, it becomes almost insensitive. In contrast, I think of works like Moral Oral and Silent Hill 2, both works that don't graphically depict SA, but do include characters who are victims of it and explore the topic very maturely, all while without shying away how fucked up and traumatizing these situations are. Silent Hill 2 being my favorite example. Without going on any long tangents, that game expects you to connect the dots, while also very maturely diving into its character and the themes behind her, which is why the character of Angela is so revered to this day. Silent Hill 2 knows how to be shocking and unnerving without being insensitive. And what's weird is that this episode does include these elements. Again, the scene with Angel and Valentino is very much uncomfortable, but very well done. It's a really, really great example of the power of implication. But graphically showing the SA really does harm it drastically. Not only showing it, but showing it in a way that, I really hate to use this word, somebody else brought it up, I thought it was really good, yassified, which very much is the tone of a Hazbin Hotel and the rest of Vivzi's work, and a tone that just, in my opinion, does not work at all here, while also making Angeldust way too simple of a character for most of the show. By the way, this arc in episode 4 is only brought up once more for the rest of the season. Angel is still meanwhile under Valentino's control, which I assume they're saving for later seasons, but again, that just adds on to a different problem I've already mentioned before. The show is focused on the exact wrong things. The show should have maybe been about these more darker elements while also being more tasteful about them. I understand it's a very tough thing to balance, but it's something that's worth balancing for exploration and could have led to a more intelligent show. It's weird how after this one segment got leaked and people complained about it, Vivzy doubled down on it, which I understand the stress, but I don't understand ironically invalidating other SA victims, saying that all survivors deserve representation, which normally I would agree with, but her point is the exact point I would use to argue against her depiction of SA in this episode. Yes, all survivors deserve representation. That's why you need to be careful when representing it. Some survivors are deeply uncomfortable with their trauma being resurfaced, and of course there are others that aren't, and that's perfectly valid, but survivors are regular independent human beings who will react to things very differently. And because of that, it's important to be at least somewhat balanced, and personally, I think an SA scene during a musical number is just too far, especially when you have a much more powerful example with implication. And it's, in my opinion, really fucked up that Vivzy didn't put this in mind. Now, of course, at the end of the day, I'm not an SA survivor. I don't expect every SA victim to agree with me. Again, these are different people with different opinions and experiences. And if anything, I do hope that actual SA victims do further give their own opinions in the comments, which can hopefully lead to better art in the future. Talking to SA victims about this whole segment was already really eye-opening for me, and I already feel kinda bad that a lot of them made really good points that I straight up can't include in this video for time. And that's on top of the fact that there were so many different opinions that it was really interesting seeing where people differed individually. Some of them even thought about some of the questions or comments that I made, which is very surprising to me, judging that, again, I'm not a survivor. It just reminded me that at the end of the day, these are regular people, and there will be a million different interpretations on art and how to improve art. Basically what I'm saying is, you know, human beings are fucking cool, dude. Furthermore, I have no clue if Vivzy herself is a victim or not, nor do I intend on finding out. That's her business, and it's fucked up for me to theorize one way or the other. Now, there is controversy with the storyboard artist that's been going around, but I'm gonna be honest, I want this video to say a review of the show, and there's just too much unverified information and semantics that I just don't feel comfortable going into. Simply put, I don't know, and I don't want to know, so do your own research and come to your own conclusions. My point is that this was grossly mishandled, not just in the scene itself, but also within the entire series. Here's hoping Vivzy Pop can maybe do better next time, although it'll be insanely hard for her to regain the trust she's already lost. Anyways, back to the funny shit. I don't know how to transition this.
Part 4, conclusion time.
I did not care for Hazbin Hotel, but the thing is, there really is something there. When the show is good in these really small pockets, it's really good, but that good is undermined by a lot, and I mean a lot, of misfocused fuck-ups, and Vivzy is way too stubborn to actually find that focus. It's way too ambitious. Vivzy wants to do way too much stuff, but all the big stuff undercooks the actual good stuff, so you get a billion episodes on shit that I just really don't care about at all, on top of the show's comedy just not being funny at all, to the point where it actively distracts from any actual good storytelling. What you get here is a complete mess. It's a passion project dream show that has no clue what it actually is, when it could have been a lot more. If Vivzy just sacrificed a few things to make a good show, this could have surprised me. It really could have. Again, it wouldn't have been my cup of tea, but I would have appreciated it. But sadly, there's not much to appreciate here in the actual product. It's a 5 out of 10 show that could have been a 6 out of 10, and that's my review. Hopefully in season 2, Vivzy Pop learns the power of second drafts. I know I sure did. That's why this video is fucking dog shit. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'm gonna go do fentanyl or something.
Fuck you in the lanes you came with. Me and you ain't on the same shit. You ain't in my lane, bitch, nah. Throw that shit in fifth, rollie on my wrist. Ay, baby, you a star, I'm my only wish. I'm counting blue hundreds, I'm too money. Ay, and my little bitch, she too lovely. Yeah, hanging up and calling me right back. Ay, baby, why you calling me like that? Yeah, getting high with the seat, lay back. Baby, gon' relax, yeah. Hey, they don't know the half, yeah. No matter what happened, I got your back. Baby, that's the facts, yeah. That's the facts, yeah. We can fight, but the feeling's gone. I try to find the words, but they never come. I can still see you on the lawn. Hey, laying outside in the summer sun. Yeah, we can fight, but the feeling's gone. I try to find the words, but they never come. I can still see you on the lawn. Hey, laying outside in the summer sun. Hey, I'm with a dark-skinned girl on the Sunday, that's that Black Sabbath. She put them ones all down on a Hyundai, and she had to have it. Baby, that's the facts, yeah. That's the facts, yeah.
Now I am going to fuck.
You gotta turn her out of all the way up there. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Hallelujah! Thank you, Jesus. Somebody got that.
Sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle from McDonald's.
Oh, it is a
Sausage, egg, and cheese McGriddle from McDonald's. Sausage, egg, and cheese.
Let me hit it, let me. See, oh God, you all want to trip this for days.
Sex.
Oh my god, DJ Pomni foot porn.
I shoot my boy, I shoot a stick. I shoot that boy, I shoot a stick. I buy a stick, I buy a stick. I shoot the leather, yeah, I shoot my blick. Well, I'm not only night, Sasa, hell, I can't bother. Sasa, I made a beat. Why am I those on the odds? Why did I I'm gonna. I'm a Sasa bitch. I'm a Sasa bitch. I'm a Sasa bitch. I'm a Sasa bitch. I'm a bitch.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
This is Sparta!